So we got Eredin today, maybe. We'll see how it goes. Um, I've been wanting to play with Eredin for a while, but unfortunately, he I don't like his kit essentially because they've changed him so much. First, he was immune, you may recall, but then they realized that that wasn't fun to interact with. It didn't lead to too many possible deck types because his only real strategy was make an engine immune. And as Scoia'tael has shown us, that's not really fun to play against. So since then, he has been changed to giving 2 units a shield, which isn't that great because it doesn't prevent against locks and stuff like that. It's a little bit of engine protection, but not a lot. And then in the most recent change to him, now he boosts an allied unit by 3 instead of 2. Now that may sound great, but you may recall that the most common engine in Eredin decks is Emlarith. And what happens when Emlarith is boosted by 3? Well, he gets to be in range of tall removal, which is the easiest way to get through shields. So I've been seeing a lot of decks with Emlarith and Yen Conjurer, both of which are 5 strength, both of which the deck guides are like, hey, you should shield this, both of which will die to tall removal immediately. So what do you do? Well, there's 2 schools of thought, which is in the 2 decks that we have today. We'll start with this first one here, which is one that's been posted in a couple of the snapshots going around right now, which is basically tall Eredin. So it's the tall monsters package that you see in some of the other tall decks. Gernicora comes to mind, where you win short rounds almost 1,000% of the time because you have such high tempo plays that other decks really can't match it unless they're specifically holding things that counter you, like Nilfgaard enjoys doing, but Nilfgaard counters everything with the good hand. But yeah, basic package. The weird thing in both of these decks is the Necker Rats. Necker Rat exists specifically to eat locks, eat removal. People are generally scared of this because of its engine potential. Um, so you throw this down, they'll probably lock it, they'll probably remove it with something, and that then gets things off the board for when you play something like Imlerith later. Specifically Imlerith in this instance because he's the only real engine we've got. Um, However, we do also have the Neckarat. We've got some Thrive. And the deck list that I found did not run Peller. It ran different card. It ran like a Hideous Feast and another Necker Warrior and all this kind of stuff. But I took out the Hideous Feast and one Necker Warrior for a second Wyvern and Peller. Um, because locks are a thing, and I would really like to have Imlerith not be locked. He can be removed, but I'd rather he not be locked. So the idea is, sure, they can remove Imlerith with their lock or their tall removal, but then they also can't remove Osril, Old Spear Tip, Goliath, things of that nature. Um, and that's basically the point of the deck. The second deck we'll cover if we get to it. Not planning to stream for too long, but we'll see what happens. Interestingly, I probably would prefer the other deck that I made. Okay, so this is the deck that I showed off. We'll hold the Peller just for round 2 or round 3. Our opponent will probably want to go long rounds, so we probably don't need to worry about being burned out. We don't need 2 Neckers, I don't think. Get rid of the Plumard too. Okay, that's fine. Straight into the Slizard, that's fine. Obviously, likes dominance. We don't really have a real answer for that right now, so we'll just start with our Thrive package. Basic. We don't have any of our big units, which is unfortunate. Alright, so the current plan then was we'll go Wyvern, Necker Warrior, Katakan, and see where we end up. We hit the one there because we don't want to get this to get Cyclopsed. So if he throws something at this, won't get very far. He's going to keep getting big. That's fine. Probably should have played the Necker Warrior on the back row, because once again we're worried about the Cyclopses, but either way he would have gotten a 4 out of it, so we don't care that much. Whisperous, very interesting. Or Weavis, very interesting. Okay, so now we go Katakarn, or Katakan. That'll get us to 20. To 31. And yeah, well, also 4 points from here, so 24 to 31, that's doable. Very interested to see how far he goes with this. He could be holding Yennefer in his hand, which would be obnoxious. Okay, so with that pass we can easily take the lead. We just need to figure out how we want to do it. Weavis is probably the best way to do that, because it's just 7 points. I mean, alternatively we could play the Brewis. We don't necessarily need Thrive anymore. Or Brewis is a better way to get dominance, but Eredin can get dominance in many ways. So we'll do Brewis here to buff up our other two. Now we're going to try to burn, I think, which is something Eredin doesn't do, but we're going to try it anyway. Odds are this nice person is not running locks, so we'll drop the Peller. Alright. Now, of course, the question is, what is he running? We could just throw out Spear Tip, make a strong statement, and then go straight into, hopefully, a Mirith. We actually have a number of golds still. It's a high possibility we don't draw Imlerith. And we'll see what happens. Interesting to see the one spawn there. Makes me think he's going to eat something small if he's expecting us to pass. I think we'll get Imlerith out now, or try to. Worst case scenario, we get like a Parasite and kill the Barbagazi. Parasite and Imlerith. Imlerith is obviously the better choice here because we're pushing this round hard. This is where he has a lock and we're angry.
Any last words?
Geralt, alright. Like I said, it'll happen. We still have dominance though, so we can play the Proto-Fledger. We could also, this is probably the best that Imlerith's Wrath is going to do for us, so that may actually be the better thing for us in this situation. So we will do that. We also will have Spores later. I'm not sure what the last Eredin charge we'll use will be. Artifact removal would be nice, but obviously we don't have it. Alright, so we know what the Dettlaff play is here. Passing here may not be a bad idea. We'd be on even going into the final round. We would have Spores as our last play. Sure. He's gotten rid of two of his very strong golds. Also his K-Ran. We may actually, if we draw Azrael, we may play that immediately. Okay, so we don't draw good cards. So we're probably going to die here. We do have the Spores, which is very powerful. We can do Eredin straight into Necarat. We have 3 organic cards, which is very useful. We're just going to go straight into Whisperous here. We got to get Slizzard off the board.
I'll be the best and last.
Man, where is our artifact removal? Alright, so now we'll play the Necarat and shield it. Good stuff. Parasite's probably the best play here. Get rid of the Barbagazi. And then use Necarat's ability first to get the cooldown running. Good stuff. It'd be very nice if drain abilities were some sort of removal, but unfortunately they're not. So we'll do the Necarat again, and then play Weavis, I suppose.
Soon, sisters. Very soon.
So things are going well. Not as well as one might hope, obviously, because we're having all of these lovely situations here. Um, so what do we do? We could play Hideous Feast. No. I mean, we got to play something is the problem. So we could play Hideous Feast, which will activate Necarat's ability, and go from there. Alright, since we're holding the spores, we don't care what his last card is, really, because we think we know what it is. So we'll Proto-Fledger on the Foglet. I mean, 30... This is a severe amount of points. What's he going to get out for 6? Oh, Vran. Fair enough. So he's going to go Vran into Glusty, which is only going to kill 2 things. Alright, we beat one of the best decks in the game. As you can see, I haven't been playing Gwent very much this season. My original plan today was going to play some Henselt Draug, because I, of course, love Draug, but I saw some Eredin lists, and like I said, trying to make Eredin work is something I've been hoping would happen for a while, though I'd prefer it being in a actual Wild Hunt deck as opposed to what we're doing right now. Alright, so this is big monsters versus big monsters, and he probably doesn't have locks, so we can get rid of the Peller. We can probably get rid of the Hideous Feast also. Okay, not great. We could consider going straight into bullying with the Necarat. If we want to push to win this first round. Because you don't want to give Gernicora power. Even though we are also big monsters, Gernicora having power is a terrible thing for us. So we want to get an engine out and hopefully have it stick. Plus now he's established some dominance, which is good. Obviously he can tactical advantage. Movement. Silly me. That's okay, now we can get a Wyvern going. Thrive versus Thrive. What a world. We do still have power though, so I think we'll use Proto-Fledger to maintain it. Limit his Thrives, continue our own. Could even play another Wyvern next turn. Losing 1 point of value with the Wyvern, but that's fine. Because he's going to go up another point in a second anyway. Alright, so then next turn, that's just rude. Alright, a Catacarn here keeps us in the running. We've got a Gernicora on even. This is incredible. It'd be nice if we could draw some actual cards, though. So it's not one thing, it's another. Okay. Goliath's something. None of the engines we want, but we'll see what happens. I mean, we control this. We can go down to 0 cards if we want to. We are running the narrative here.
We're all dressed up just for you.
We might play Mithril here. I don't think Gernicora has room to run many artifacts that would bother us. And it gets 2 charges of dominance going.
I wonder how long you lost.
I sense your pain. I see your fear.
So we could do Spear Tip into Goliath. We also could just go Goliath. We want to go big because if we can find a way to pass and get him down cards on us, that's a good thing for us. So Goliath may be the way to do that. It's also possible he's running Geralt. But, you know, that way at least we get a good card out of his deck with Goliath. $10 points up, he's going to have to, well, 9 points up. Once it comes back to us, it'll be 8, so he just needs to play a 7.
Let's get this over.
There's Geralt, alright. Everyone's running Geralt. We could go straight into Osriel, but there really isn't any point to that. I mean, being on even is fine. Like I said, we burned some of his cards. He hasn't played any golds, though. So his last cards are going to be like double Spear Tip, Osriel. We still have Imlerith and Imlerith's Wrath along with Naglfar, so there's potential there. It's just a shame we're not drawing good stuff. I mean, obviously we beat Arachas Queen. Okay. We got both our engines, and unlike Nekarad, Imlerith can actually stick. We'll kick the Nekarad also, I think. We want to see if we can get Naglfar or something else. Plumard, alright. Plumard and yeah, alright. So we're going to go Imlerith into Osriel, I think. Let's see what happens. He's going to have Feast, he's going to have Hunt, isn't he? Nope, alright, that's fine. Alright, so this is when we play Imlerith's Wrath. And also then ping with that. Alternatively, we could use Spores here. Spores would only be... Yeah, Spores wouldn't be enough value to justify it. Alright, Dominus doesn't count self anymore. Silly me. So definitely need to play either Spear Tip or Osriel. Looks like Osriel to get the 10 points. He really wants dominance, or he doesn't want me to have dominance for obvious reasons. Okay, so that'll be a good Spores target if we don't get anything else. We still have dominance. No reason to waste Spear Tip yet. We'll do Plumard, I think. Spores is going to do very well for us here. Okay. Power of the shield saving us there. So Spear Tip into more Imlerith shots. And we win. Eredin showing up the best monster decks.